We are at Wednesday here on the That's Good Broncos podcast, which means the stank of last week is gone. Hope, not really a new horizon, none of that, but the pain of last week's gone. And now we're ready for more pain this week as we take a look at what's going on with the Denver Broncos. We will do the game picks for the week, get you filled in on some news. I'm Brandon Perna here with Will Keys, the famous YouTuber of Will Sucks at Games.
Thank you.
Yeah. Today's episode brought to you by DraftKings. Use code DNVR, DNVR, DNVR when you sign up. Just one time. Use DNVR. So today's a day I don't really want to do the podcast. If I'm being honest, Will.
Well, let me take charge here. I don't know if I want to do it. I don't know if anybody wants to listen to it, but we're doing this out of duty.
Yeah.
And I think the people listening are doing it as well because we're 3-6 right now. It feels like a same shit, different toilet kind of atmosphere.
Yeah.
This week. But let's start it off with like something that's a little, separated from how the team's doing. So you remember the Monday night game against the Chargers, a 10-point lead, blew it. Not really relevant, but so there's this play where the Broncos special teamer, Aaron Patrick, got forced out of bounds, and then he collided with some kind of video crew member and slipped on some mats. Ended up tearing his ACL. He's done for the season. So Aaron Patrick is now suing the NFL. He's suing ESPN, suing the Rams and the Chargers.
He should throw John Gruden in there and Dan Snyder as well.
Yeah, definitely Snyder for sure.
And Deshaun Watson. Sue them all.
Watson, yeah. Call Tony Busby. What's the difference at this point? So, okay. I got a little bit of this, I think, from Pro Football Talk, but I'm going to kind of summarize it. The lawsuit from Patrick alleges some negligence in how whichever party is responsible placed the mats that were covering the cords and the cables for the league's replay monitor. So they have this like intricate setup. There's cords everywhere. They put mats down, which he slipped on. It kind of reminds me of the Reggie Bush situation a few years ago, if you remember that. So he tried not to run into the TV liaison. So now Patrick's complaint also contends that the ownership of the venue, aka the Rams, owed a duty of care to those with access to the field, and that ownership allowed an unsafe condition to exist on those premises. So he's suing, 4 different parties here. And what I was reading is the strategy beyond that. It's not like frivolous or anything, but so the reasoning is these parties, to avoid liability, will start implicating who's really, at fault there. And so I think someone, whether it's NFL, ESPN, the Rams, or the Chargers, someone's going to be left.
That's going to be a liability for them moving forward.
Yes. And I think this is reasonable because, injuries are a part of the game, but, this took place, this is not, cutting on, the wrong foot or just kind of like a football play. This is like trying to avoid something on the sideline. Also, he's losing half of his salary from the time he's on IR because of a provision in his contract.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he lost a lot of money. And he's not a guy who's, making millions of dollars.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it on GPS, and that was one thing I kind of said is that in terms of the finances of it, special teams player, outside linebacker, which with all the Broncos injuries, like he might have gotten some decent playing time and definitely could argue like it costing him money too in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, we kind of take it for granted that players are going to come back from an ACL, and that's not always the case.
And it's not even just coming back from it. It's like he might have had a chance to put out great film this season as a Broncos edge rusher, and
he might have gotten taking some snaps here.
Yeah, so
the injuries.
I'm all for anybody getting money from the NFL or any of the owners or ESPN or whoever. Unless, of course, ESPN wants to give us money, which they have yet to commit to doing. And somebody in the chat had also said, like, this is a brand new stadium. Why didn't they think of like this while they're building it, where they could have basically all the cables and shit underground that they can access and hook into, which I think that's actually a pretty smart observation. That said, like running that whole setup, pretty complicated. There's a lot that goes into all of the footage, the angles, everything to put together an NFL broadcast. There are those obstacles on the sideline, but I see their point. There probably is a better way they can do it and make sure that it's not that close. Make sure that all the cords have to run straight back and then, around the edge. They can figure out a way to make it not be that close to the sideline is my point.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and player safety should be of the utmost importance. You would think.
It is only when it's convenient to the NFL. Player safety only makes sense when it can help them make more money.
Yeah, which is why we go so far to protect quarterbacks, because they are obviously the lifeblood of this league. But I think there's starting to be this reckoning now with guys like Cooper Kupp, who got hurt, and now he is really calling on the league to make the switch from turf to natural grass. And I'm not, we're going to dig into that, I think, in a future
episode. On natural grass every time.
But I'm not like an expert on that yet. But it seems like it would be in the best interest to not lose players like Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
He's
pretty good.
It would be in the best interest of the NFL to keep as many players, not just star players, as healthy as possible.
Yeah. You know what? There is something strange going on, I feel like, with NFL injuries. Let me bring up this little chart ski here that I got.
Okay. We love data.
All right.
Especially when it supports our opinions.
Yes. I like numbers don't lie, but people can use them to lie.
Yes.
Okay. So we got Joe Mahoney. Put up this chart about the Broncos, more injuries, basically over the last few seasons. You can see the Broncos right here. Very injured in 2021. It feels like it's even worse this year. And somebody else pointed out, like, the chart itself seems to be greener on the right side. And it seems like teams have been getting more and more injured over the last few years. And I would like to see something that shows like exactly, how many players are injured per year. But this does look like injuries have been worse. And it seems like ACLs and Achilles and all of these things, we've seen increases in their injuries. I don't know if that has anything to do with turf or grass, but we've talked about training and teams practicing less and all these other things. I would like them to figure out why because it does suck. And it's not just the Broncos. Like, it sucks to be a Chargers fan because your team is always hurt. The Ravens were decimated last year. They had injury problems this year. Like, I feel like it definitely has affected teams. And it feels like there should be more green over here on this side, and I don't see it, Will.
Yeah, I think I remember an interview with Billy Bean, who is still the A's general manager, aka Brad Pitt from Moneyball. And kind of, I think in the press circuit for that movie, he was asked, because like all the other teams had caught up in terms of what they were doing in 2002. It was no longer like a novel concept. And someone asked him, like, what's the next frontier for Moneyball? Like, what's the next innovation in running a baseball team, or really like any, sports team? And he said that predicting injuries is like the next wave. Seems hard to do. I'm sure that they are working on it. I would love to see if the A's are ahead of most teams in terms of that. Seems probably a lot harder for a football team considering, it's a collision sport.
Yeah.
But, I found this tweet from Mike Kliss where he said, according to Spot Track, the Broncos' 14 players on IR are combining for $55.3 million in cap space.
Yeah, we had that same stat last year from them. Like, they had a ridiculous number of cap space on IR last year too.
Yeah, so for context, that's 27% of the salary cap. The Chargers are the next team, and they're 23% of their cap is injured. So we're more injured than the Chargers.
Yeah, Broncos are effed up.
Yeah, and that's like, there's not one culprit here. You can probably point to, I think people have theorized that, maybe not playing in preseason had a little bit to do with it. Maybe. Bad luck, obviously. I think there's the extremes where, Derek Wolfe was on with us and he said, the way John Harbaugh runs Ravens practices and training camp,
it's too much.
There's a lot of attrition there and they got way too injured. And maybe the way that the Broncos ran training camp this year, although they've been hurt the last couple of years too, but maybe it was too far on the other extreme where they just weren't ready for kind of the grind of actually playing football. I don't know. That's just my guess. I think you have to look at the training staff too and kind of evaluate what they're doing compared to other training staffs.
Yeah, that was one of the things that chart was used for, was to, I think, take a look at Lauren Landau, who's been the Broncos trainer for the last like 3 or 4 years or something like that.
Yeah.
The last healthy season Denver had was 2014.
Yeah.
They survived 2015, 16 manageable, 17 a little more, 18 worse, 19 worse, 2020 worse, 2021 worse, and I'm guessing they're on a path to have even their most horrific finish this year, which affects Russell Wilson's play. Yeah. The offensive line, we've now seen like multiple people talking about they're down to their third string option at both tackles and center. That's not even to mention
Luke Wattenberg,
all of their receivers, not named Sutton, losing RB1 Javonte Williams, who was, I think, going to be really important as well. They'll get some help back on defense, on the edge. Simmons will be back. KJ Hamler should be back at some point. They'll get a little healthier, but it ain't good. On top of being an underperforming team and you're injured, like the thing that's been Kyle Shanahan's like saving grace with the losing seasons has been how injured they are. And they finagled a Super Bowl appearance and a championship appearance in between those. So anyway, the other rumor I've seen out there is the Broncos would be pursuing Dan Quinn if Nathaniel Hackett is fired.
Yeah. And that's from Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated, I believe. So they obviously interviewed Quinn last year. So to go from Hackett, choosing Hackett over Quinn and then going back to Quinn is just like obviously admitting your mistake.
Yeah.
And it's like, which is fine, which is, I think, a good thing to do, to admit mistakes. But, you're also making the concession that, like, you just wasted a year, which is not something that a general manager always wants to do. But I think that Peyton has and deserves plenty of job security to try to correct his mistakes. But so kind of the caveat with Dan Quinn is that he could bring along Dallas assistant coach and former Seahawks offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer, to call plays, which would be, sort of, I don't know if ironic is the word, but his father, Marty Schottenheimer, was the Broncos were his greatest enemy.
Yeah, and there's history with Schottenheimer and Russ Wilson too.
Yeah, they were both in Seattle, Quinn and Schottenheimer.
Yeah. What was Russell Wilson? How did he play with Schottenheimer?
Well, yeah, he played well. I'm trying to think. I think they got rid of him maybe 2019 is my guess, but we can look it up.
Russell Wilson wanted Schotty fired.
Yeah, but
June 21st, 2022.
Yeah, 2020. And 2020 was, I think, Wilson's best year statistically. So, yeah, he was there from 2018 to 2020. He was also the OC for the New York Jets from 2006 to 2011. And he got some good performances out of Mark Sanchez, to his credit. That's kind of crazy that he was the OC. He survived the transition from Eric Mangini to Rex Ryan in 2009. It's kind of rare, but yeah, I respect it. They ran the ball a lot. I remember with Schottenheimer, and that was kind of a criticism that the offense was a little too like old school, but yeah, it worked.
Russell Wilson pinned open letter to Schottenheimer after he parted ways. Shotty, I'm grateful for how much you meant to me over the past 3 years. God bless me. With you, we won a lot of games, threw a lot of touchdowns, and had a blast in meetings. And maybe the most important nugget here, and our Bible studies. The best days are ahead for you. Go be great. God first. Love 3. So actually, Russell Wilson didn't write that. Number 3 did.
Interesting nugget, too. I found that Brian Schottenheimer was born in Denver. So, I don't know.
On a Marty Schottenheimer bender, apparently.
He was born at, yeah, I guess so.
Born, not conceived.
He might have been conceived there, too. I don't know. That's kind of strange, though. He was born in Denver, Colorado. I don't know why I said Colorado. Weird there. I don't know. Colorado. He prepped he went to high school in Kansas, like you. Overland Park, Kansas.
So outside of Kansas City, okay.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, that's all that's really relevant.
Am I Brian Schottenheimer?
I think he might be.
What's his birthday?
October 16th.
Oh, we're both born in October, too.
Yeah. Just, he's 49 though, so,
11 years older than me. Hey, I like the way those coincidences are stacking up. And if you're feeling that optimistic about your luck, why don't you try DraftKings Sports Book? Football fans, NBA fans, Both sports are here, okay? Both partners with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official partner of the NFL, and to share that joy, I've got a special offer for new customers. Sign up using promo code DNVR, and on any pregame moneyline wager, you can get $200 in free bets. A $200 in a free bets. In addition to the usual bets, everyone can boost their winnings up to 100% with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. Step it up. 3-dimensionalized parlays. Stack some bets for the ultimate payout. You just got to use code DNVR when you sign up at DraftKings Sportsbook. And make any $5 bet this week and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. So you download the app at wherever you get your apps. I don't know. The restaurant. Appetizers. Get it. Code DNVR. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. So see the show notes for the details. All right. That's a situation to certainly monitor.
We'll monitor.
Whatever happens, as long as they keep Ejiro Evero, I don't care what they do.
Well,
let me ask one thing is working.
Yeah. Okay. I saw some takes out there on Twitter from people who write about the Broncos. I'm not going to say who because
not very well.
Yeah, not very well. I'm not going to say who because I don't want to, air them out or anything because I disagree. But a lot of people saying that when I mean one person that I saw said you should fire Hackett right now, which I've said I disagree with. There's no point. And hire Ejiro Evero. Not only is the interim head coach, but the full-time, like the head coach, give him like a multi-year contract right now.
Ooh, you know what I do instead? I think it's pretty easy. You finally got the ownership group that's got the bankroll. They got the money. What I do is I sit down with the Ejiro and I say, look, we want you here for a very long time.
Yes.
We're going to make you the highest paid defensive coordinator in the NFL.
Yeah.
And all we ask from you is your undying loyalty to our team. Do not leave for a head coaching job. We will give you more money than any head coach is making.
Okay.
Whatever Bill Belichick's making, we will double it for you, sir.
Yeah.
And I will go to England and I'll make sure he gets knighted.
Yeah.
This motherfucker's going to get knighted. I'm going to give him the key to the city. He can run for president. But right now, he's going to be a goddamn Denver Broncos defensive coordinator for the next 10 years. $1 billion whatever Patrick Mahomes getting paid, I pay Ejiro Evero.
But maybe he is a great head coach. You ever think about that?
Okay, you can be our head coach too, but only if you want to.
But so the timing is weird. I disagree with the idea that you should fire Hackett now and promote a guy who's been a defensive coordinator for exactly 9 games. Because I think the last time we saw a team jump the gun like that was 2018. The Browns fired Hugh Jackson in the middle of the season. They made Greg Williams their interim head coach. They ended up finishing the season really well. They also promoted quarterbacks coach Freddie Kitchens to offensive coordinator. So they let interim head coach Greg Williams go after the season, and they promoted Freddie Kitchens from quarterbacks coach to head coach in the matter of just a couple months.
Yeah.
So I think what you do, I don't think it's wise to fire a head coach in his first year
No.
before the season's over, regardless of how bad they're doing on the field. I think the exception would be Urban Meyer if they're like really embarrassing you off the field, which is
Yeah, if they're rubbing their dick up on people who aren't their wife and it's
Yeah.
caught on video camera and they're kicking kickers. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I mean, if
When their penis is touching somebody else,
yes,
that's not their wife.
yes. I think I think if Hackett, winds up and takes a kick right in Brandon McManus's anus, his McManus, right? If he kicks the gooch right in the gooch, I think that would be grounds for dismissal. But yeah, I don't think it sets a good message to future potential head coaches if you're firing guys, this early.
Yeah, I don't think that matters though. Like we have that debate every time about like firing coaches too early. I think what I've learned is just like any industry, people want to get to the top, whether you're ready for it or not. And if you're going to get an opportunity to be a head coach, even if it's not in your best interest, you're probably going to take it. The amount of guys who say no, I feel like are far and few between.
But you have, okay. So I think there are guys out there. I think that obviously you don't just want anybody to be your head coach. You want guys who want the job and are, qualified for the job. And those are the guys who have options, because there's going to be, I don't know, let's say 8 head coaching vacancies at the end of the year. And you want one of the top 3 guys. So to use, last year's candidate pool, you want a Dable, you want a McDaniel, or you want a Kevin O'Connell. Right.
You do. The Broncos have gotten the top 3 guys every time around.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if they don't feel like they're going to have that job security, they'll just go somewhere else, right? Or they'll just wait.
McDaniel went to the shit because nobody else would take that gig. He was the last available option. Kevin O'Connell was an interesting name, but it didn't feel like he was the top dude. It was Dable, Dan Quinn, Hackett. I feel like we're the top guys.
But Dable didn't, like, for multiple reasons. Dable wasn't interested in.
He was not interested. That is
Denver.
correct.
I don't think that had anything to do with him, because that was a Joe Shane going to New York thing.
It was that. I think his family's out there.
Yeah, he's East Coast guy.
It's all that. But no, I don't disagree with you. Like, show that you're going to give a guy a shot, and letting Hackett finish out this season feels like a little bit more respectable to convincing the next coach. It's like, hey, we knew he wasn't the guy, but we gave him the full season. And
right.
2 things can be true right now, in that Hackett might not be the answer, and there are a lot of things that have happened that are outside of his control that have caused that have set him up for failure. Number 1 being Russell Wilson not as good as we thought he was. And I don't mean to say that Russell Wilson can't be good again. I mean, he's not the type of quarterback where if everything goes wrong around him, he can save the team. I thought he could be that guy. He's not.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, certainly. And
there's not many of those guys, though. That's Peyton Manning. That's Tom Brady. Right now, Patrick Mahomes. Maybe Josh Allen. But those guys are far and few.
Yeah. I mean, I think that we have learned that I think Russell Wilson can have success in this league. I think he might have been in over his skis by, kind of wanting to be that pass-first guy in a pass-friendly offense. I think he's probably someone that strives in the kind of structure that Seattle set up for him. And back to Schottenheimer, like, they scored a record number of points in 2020, and he got fired.
Yeah. If Russ wanted him fired, oh, that's bad. That's
yeah.
But I don't know if that's true. It's hard to know what's true and what's not true based on anything out of Seattle. But if Russ is willing to work with him again and they had sex. If they had sex together, man,
yeah,
we got a whole different thing to talk about.
Yeah.
If they had success together and he wants to work with him again and Quinn is the guy and he brings him over, I like that. And you know what else? If it were Quinn, what I like, and if Evero stays, I think Quinn's getting a lot out of the Cowboys defense this year, or he has. And I think the Broncos defense probably just gets maybe a little bit better. But who knows?
Yeah, I mean, on the subject too of Evero, again, like I think after you just made, potentially one of the worst head coaching hires in the last 10 years, I think Josh McDaniels aside, because we had the history with McDaniels and we knew he sucked. That takes precedence. I think after you make a mistake that bad on George Payton's part, hiring a head coach without conducting interviews, and considering under other candidates, is like borderline malpractice as a GM, and I think he's so much smarter than that.
Yeah, he's not gonna do that.
And yeah, so I know a lot of people think that they should just hire Evero now. So I think that's why that's a bad idea. I think you just give him an interview at the end of the season. You just put him in your pool of candidates and consider him like everybody else.
Actually consider him, yeah.
And if he, obviously he's not going to be more experienced than a lot of other guys, but if you feel like he's the right man for the job, pull the trigger. Yeah.
I think that's fair. I think it's fair to evaluate Evero at the end of the season for the head coaching job if he desires that.
Because I think other teams might jump on that as well.
Yeah.
There's the chance. I don't know. I mean, you've also got guys like I think the Eagles defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon, is probably the most sought after DC right now. Also, the Eagles offensive coordinator, Shane Steichen, is going to get a lot of looks. But I think Evero will probably, I think someone other than the Broncos will be looking him over.
Yeah, I think I'm going to trust Peyton to evaluate if he's ready for that job. And I think a lot of time, I need numbers, but like, I personally think it would be in Evero's best interest if they got a guy like Quinn coming in. Okay, like a guy I think people respect and has a great track record, to marinate in that coordinator role before you jump to head coach. I think there's benefit there.
Yeah.
Flip side of that is Mike McDaniel, right?
Yeah, that's a really good point. That was his first year, 2021, right? That's the OC.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Yeah.
And for every Mike McDaniel, there's a Rich Scangarello out there. So there's no one way to do it. Every situation's different.
Oh, brother, what I wouldn't do for Rich Scangarello right now.
But where we're at is things are worse than they were with Pat Shurmur.
I was going to say that, Zach Taylor would be an example of kind of a success story, I guess if you want to call it that.
Zach Taylor's a great example of getting Joe Burrow.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people. I would defend Zach Taylor because he, I think he's a good coach, probably not a great coach, but you can't argue with someone, taking the Cincinnati Bengals to the Super Bowl. And I don't think you can call someone a bad coach after that.
Yeah. And even if he's not great, like Is he getting better? Do you think he's growing as a coach? Like, you have to be able to evaluate that as a general manager, especially with young coaches.
Yeah.
Same thing with quarterbacks.
Also,
you want the young guy. Maybe there's gonna be some growing pains with that.
You do. A little, it's a little not quite the same because he was the offensive coordinator in Miami in 2015 and the OC in Cincinnati in 2016. So he had a little more experience than Evero at that point.
Yeah.
So, that's something to consider, but he did jump from QB coach to head coach just like that. That was probably because of the Sean McVay factor. But guess who else knows Sean McVay? Ejiro Evero.
Oh, boom.
So, that's where I stand on that. That's where I stand.
It comes down to, like, what kind of coach can Evero be on game day, and what kind of coach is he behind the scenes?
Yeah, which we don't know.
I know defense likes him. Like, is he a guy you think can be a leader? That's important as well. It's not everything, but
he's also he's got a cool name.
Yeah.
He's got a cool name.
He's got the coolest name in the league for coaches.
Yeah, like just saying Coach Evero.
Like, his parents, they've nailed that name. It's like, what rolls off the tongue just smoother than butter? Ejiro Evero, baby. That's your name.
He's also from Colchester in the United Kingdom. We had a
Hello, governor.
Yes, thank you.
I say that I get Carmi to say that all the time with me.
Hello,
governor.
The Let's Ride on the last power rankings was incredible. She nailed that.
She has she really carried the end of that episode.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, let's do the picks.
Let's pick these games. They will. So we're 34, ranked 34. Last week we're going back to back 7-7. That's not great. RJ Lawson up in first place. Oh, Steve Tarr, dang, climbing the power ranks.
Steve
at 2. Steve, huge Nick Bonito fan, Patreon member. Let's see here. Kevin down at 6. Aiden, Aubrey, Thomas, a random guy. 87. Seahawks fan. Luke. All right, where are we? Where's 34? Who's in our group of slackers?
There we are.
Jordan, Mason, Coleman, Lauren. She hangs out in our Zoom Patreon hangouts. All right, let's try and get back in this, Will.
Yep, let's do it.
Thursday night. Ooh, dang. 49-51, Packers Titans.
Yeah. Count me with the 51.
Yeah.
I don't, I think that, I don't know, they unlock something against the Cowboys, them being the Packers. So if they're going to go on a streak right now, I think now is the only time to save their season. So
yeah,
it's the Titans didn't I really like the Titans defense, but their offense didn't exactly impress.
Yeah. It's so hard because I'm so unimpressed with the Titans offense, but that's because the Broncos shut down Derrick Henry, and they do that. If Derrick Henry runs against the Packers, then the Titans will win if he gets over, I don't know, $150. And the Packers did struggle to stop. How many? Let me look. Packers, Cowboys. How many yards did Tony Pollard have in this game? 115 on 22 carries. So that could lose it for the Packers, but I agree. I'll take him. Falcons, Bears. Ooh, Bears underperforming in terms of finishing games. Falcons performing exactly where we thought they might be.
They are who we thought they were.
Yeah. Dang. I think Chicago. I think they'll actually get the win this week.
Yeah, I mean, they've been painfully close the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I think they get it done.
All right. Browns, Bills. Last game of Jacoby Brissett, a respectable quarterback before you turn into Satan's anus, Cleveland. I look for a big bounce back game by Buffalo. I think we see limited.
2 feet of snow, apparently, in this one.
Well, that changes. That could be. That's.
I don't know. I think I like the home team. In that case, I think Josh Allen's going to run the ball a lot. I think that sets up just like a backyard style environment, and I trust Josh Allen. Jacoby Brissett recently is like outside of that, Bengals game. He's been as bad on the field as Deshaun Watson has been off of it.
Yeah, I would be scared in a game with weather of Nick Chubb being the difference for the Browns in a victory, but we'll ride with Bills. We got to do this quick. I need to shut up. Okay. Eagles, Colts, tell me, Will.
Eagles bounce back.
Sorry, Jeff. Jets, Pats.
The Patriots have been so good against Zach Wilson. I think they do it again.
Yeah. Rams, Saints.
Shit. The Rams. I don't know. Both of these teams are bad and boring.
Yep. Well, the Stafford back? Is he going to be? He'll be back from concussion. No Cooper Kupp. Actually, I'm going to change it to Saints.
Okay.
And Andy Dalton has been horrible, but
Saints country. Let's pray.
Yeah. All right. Lions, Giants.
Man, we both want to take the Lions here, but I think the Giants win one score game, as they so often do.
Fair enough. Panthers, Ravens. Wow. 2% on Carolina.
Give me the Ravens.
Commanders, Texans.
I think this could be closer than we think, but the commies.
Talk about a team getting some love this week.
Yeah.
Good God.
Yeah, really.
Oh, fuck this game, man. Fuck both these teams, Denver and Raiders.
If we get swept by the Raiders again, I might change my mind.
We'll take
if we get blown out by the Raiders, I don't think that's going to happen. But if we lose to the Raiders, maybe we should fire Hackett.
Yeah. We'll see. Derek
Carr.
The
worst thing he's done is lose to Josh McDaniels.
That is. That's unforgivable.
Yeah. It's worse than the end of the Seattle game.
Vikings? Cowboys.
Emotional win last week for the Vikings. There could be a letdown. Chance to bounce back for the Cowboys. My gut tells me the Cowboys.
Yeah, my gut's saying that too. And I just talked a lot of crap about the Cowboys on GPS, but
yeah.
Let's take it. Let's listen to our gut. Let's see if it's right. Bengals, Steelers.
Give me the Bengals.
Tight. Chiefs, Chargers.
I don't know, Jim. Are the Chargers really 5-4? I thought they were like 500. But I guess that's not true because they played 9 games. Give me the Chiefs.
Okay. Final game. Niners, Cardinals.
49ers.
Yeah, I think the Niners are going to win that division.
Yep.
I think they're going to start to look decent consistently on offense. And that's it. Those are our picks. This is our podcast. Thanks for listening. Will Sucks at Games. Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Video out today, hopefully.
Ooh, new vid coming out today. Yeah.